Hi, Rigsters here, back with another World of Tanks video, this time on the Bond Heavy Breakthrough tank, the Tier 8 Premium AMX M49L. Isn't that a mouthful to pronounce? This is basically a very high-priced Bond tank that you can get for free over time, which is kind of like the Cole system in World of Warships. With the exception of what I did the previous time in the 1390, I'll just briefly go over the tank stats here. The tank stats here, I have the modified configuration class enhancement for the survivability. Pretty much, I did this as an experiment for heavy tanks. If you click on equipment here and you slot under, what's it called, protection or survivability, I call it. I jokingly call it protection. You buy this with credits, which is normally 600,000, and you slap it on that slot to boost the enhancement. So you get faster repair time, more module durability, less loading penalty when the ammo rack's damaged, and dramatically reduces your chance of getting engine fires. Very useful for most heavy tanks that are heavily armored. In this case, this tank has 190 front for the hull and 250 front for the turret. It's okay, but people spam gold, so you can't always rely on that. It has decent mobility. It's a big heavy tank, but once it gets up and going, it gets to where you need to go. It is very terrible at sneaking around, though. The concealment is god awful. It's like with most heavies. You're going to be spotted from the moon pretty much most of the time. Spotting range itself is pretty decent at 390. Has a ridiculous, almost 1,000 signal range. So whatever your enemy is spotting, whatever friendly spots the enemy, you can see the map very quickly. And that's also thanks in part to the single boosting skill that increases this by 172. So it was really about 700 to 800 before this skill. Because I like to see the battlefield. And that's what I did as an experiment for the radio operator skill. So I did leave out some information because don't really need to blab too much on every single statistical thing. The main gist of this tank is you go in, you use your 232 millimeters of pen, and how you figure that out is if you hold down the left control and you mouse over your mouse here, it'll tell you the average pen and average damage and shell velocity. And of course some lore about what the shell type is named. And of course I have some HE rounds which are 50 millimeters, which is pretty good for an HE round for a 100 millimeter gun, to be honest. And the usual consumables on the bottom. The map is Overlord, and it's a tier 8 match, so it's pretty much even. I'm going to zoom in here with my mouse wheel. Now, unlike the AMX 1390, you can actually go in on the front lines a little more often. Within reason. The armor of this tank is decent for heavy, but the hull armor is a liability. I'm a little bit cautious going around that corner because it's a TD tank destroyer death trap, regardless of what side you pick on. I'm going to move up just a little bit here. It's also an artillery magnet because of how massive this tank is. I mean, it's just huge. This is like as big as a Moss, which is also a very big tank. What on earth is this tiger doing? Well, he won't do any damage to me. In the old days, that would have hurt me. They removed team damage in World of Tanks quite a long while ago. Not necessarily always for the better, though. I don't know what this Tiger 1 is doing, per se. I'm going to move in here and take a look. Let's see if I can fire. Yeah, there we go. Took a very risky shot on that EOC even 90. The accuracy of this gun is really good if you give it time and you're not moving too much. If you don't let it at least close in a little bit, it'll swing wide. It's a very weird French quirk with the guns. The aim time is a little bit on the slower side, which is this green circle when I zoom in here. You let that close in just a little bit and it usually will hit where you aim. Which is ironic, because the German tanks have the opposite problem, where it's sometimes better to just fire almost immediately. And firing this Tiger here, speaking of shooting. Tiger, you can easily pen at almost any angle of this gun. It does not have enough armor to withstand the firepower of the cannon. So it's at a tactical disadvantage. The T29 does hit me, but I hit him back much harder. He does 236, I do 317. That was a good trade. So I'm going to back up a bit because I don't want to push any further because he has the advantage of tank destroyers and a scout overlooking the hill. And in before I have the high ground moment from Star Wars, they do actually have the literal high ground. Yes. If you're into Star Wars lore and jokes, there you go. Eat your heart out, Obi-Wan Kenobi fans. So, let's see. We have some more tanks coming in. I'm zooming in on this tank destroyer. What on earth is that abomination of an aesthetic? Well, whatever it was, he got pooped on and went to Taco Bell. Now, if you don't know what that reference is, that's okay. It's basically I'm making fun of the meme of Taco Bell causing diarrhea. Yeah, that's pretty much all I'm going to say on that. Killing the T-29 with that shot right there. That was a very gutsy call, too, because I was like, should I wait just one more split second? Nope. In this game, you have to have FPS-like reflexes. You really do. And sometimes, if you're quick faster than the other guy, you win. That's how it works in this game, just like an FPS shooter of all things. I'm not worried about the tracks being blown off, which happens very frequently in this tank, believe it or not. There we go, and take out the Tiger. And this team is losing, so I'm just going to push in. There's not much else I could do. I mean, if I go back to help them, it's not that I don't want to help them, but tactically, there's not really a whole lot you can do when there's 8 tanks converging on 2. Yeah. This is going to be an L, folks. I'm pretty convinced of that. Unlike in World of Warships, there's no heal. So, once you hit, once you take damage, that's it. You can't do anything about taking damage except for trying to mitigate it or run away. And I'm speaking of running away. French irony here. Oh, what the hell was that thing? That's a Russian tank. It's a heavy. There's so many new tanks in this game, I don't even recognize this game anymore. I used to play this game very frequently back in 2012 to 2017. So a lot of these tanks, as I'm slowly getting back into this game a little bit from time to time, I don't even recognize half of these tanks. The setter I know is a new British light tank. Oh, look at that, the little even 90 just slaps me down. And just like that, that's how fast matches can go in World of Tanks. I mean, that's just one match. Top of the leaderboard in terms of damage and almost in experience, too. Yeah, that I kind of figured that was going to be the case. When you go to the detailed report here, despite not winning the match, with an additional 30,000 credits for doing a mission? What? How did they earn the next... What mission did I even do? Well, I mean, I don't mind it. I just thought it was kind of funny. So, if you subtract 30,000 for the real data, not the, oh look, I earned 71,000. It's like, well, check the detailed reports, because there's a reason why you earned that much. Let's see here. If I subtract 30,000 from 71, 60, 50, 41,962, doing 2,603 damage and blocked 1,695. That is good income on standard. If you earn between 20 to 70,000 after all those costs of ammunition, or if you use consumables, that is a good profit. World of Tank standards. That is actually a good payout. The shell cost for this tank, as I wrap this up here, is 1,030 per shell for the 100mm AP, 650 for HE. That is usually on par for the average for heavy tank main caliber gun shells. It's on the high end, but you still can make money. It's just a little more difficult to make money once I run out of I guess, the depot of shells I have. How did I have 63 shells in depot? I really don't know how I got 63 shells in the depot. I do not know how I did that many shells. The only thing I would slot in this tank as the last thing is probably gun rammer, or let's see here, or vertical stabilizer. No, vertical stabilizer might not be the best. Improved rotation. No, improved rotation is kind of a situational thing that could help, but I think the either that or enhanced gun lane drive, if you're not moving as much, would be useful as well. So vert stab, enhanced gun lane drive, or gun rammer. So invert stabilizer and enhanced gun lane drive would probably be other two good options, with an optional improved rotation mechanism might help you wiggle your hull a little faster. That could also help as well. Alright, well, hope you enjoyed this video. I still run a Ko-Fi page with the goal of getting a better flight stick for flight simulators. And with this tank, I still would recommend under certain circumstances, but there are better options for the bonds. But this is not a terrible tank, but it is an average tank. This is Rigsters Journey, signing off.